One NBA player cheated his way into the All-Star game. Another smelled so disgusting that he cleared out an entire locker room. These are the NBA players that forced rule changes. Nothing compares to how James Harden scored over 30 points per game. It all began when Harden moved from the Thunder to the Rockets. At that time, he wasn't a starter, scoring only 9.9 points per game. But after the trade, he became an NBA superstar, averaging 25.9 points per game, a whopping 16-point increase in just 3 seasons. Such a huge improvement in such a short time made many people skeptical. They questioned whether Harden was playing fair. Even the NBA had some suspicions and started keeping a close watch on him. Eventually, he was caught doing something unbelievable. Harden became known for getting to the free throw line frequently. During his first year in Houston, he nearly tripled his free throw attempts per game. To give some context, people often think players like LeBron James get lots of foul calls. However, in 2012, Harden averaged 10 free throws per game, while LeBron only averaged 7. Sure, that's still 7 more than an average person might get, but the point remains. Harden got 42% more free throws than LeBron, and he kept this trend going year after year. It turned out that Harden was using a move that was extremely effective and almost impossible to defend against. When a defender contested Harden's shot, he'd hook arms with them to make the referees call a foul. It was a strategy that worked really well for him. If you watch the game footage, you'll see how he did it. In 2017, the Basketball League made a new rule because of James Harden. They called it the Harden Rule. It said you couldn't trick the referee into calling a foul anymore. If a player wasn't already taking a shot before the foul, it was just a regular foul. Later on, Harden moved from the Rockets to the Nets. During all the talk about him, he gained enough weight to become a big player. Speaking of big players, Shaquille O'Neal was a huge deal in basketball. The NBA changed a rule because of him, and that saved them a lot of money. During Shaq's time playing, it was really tough to stop him. He was 7 feet tall and weighed 324 pounds. Imagine trying to defend against that. But he had a big weakness. Shaq wasn't good at shooting from far away. He only made 1 three-pointer in his whole career. Just 1. That was the only time Shaq ever scored from that far. So if you could keep him away from the basket, you had a better chance of winning. But that was easier said than done. Then, the Mavericks found a strategy called the hack-a-Shaq. It was exactly what it sounds like. It's daring to hug someone for the entire duration of a basketball game. Teams in basketball were using a strategy called hack-a-Shaq against Shaquille O'Neal. They intentionally hugged him, fouling him, and sending him to the free throw line because he wasn't good at making those shots. Shaq had a career free throw shooting percentage of 52%, which means he would, at most, make 1 free throw. Teams used this strategy to limit their scoring and gain possession of the ball. Shaq didn't like this strategy and decided to confront the NBA commissioner, David Stern, about it. He threatened to physically confront people if they kept fouling him, emphasizing that he wouldn't mind missing some games as a consequence. Shaq even added a humorous note, encouraging people to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Despite the threat, David Stern didn't give in to Shaq's demand. This describes the intense situation, suggesting that picturing a 300-pound man threatening someone like the Kool-Aid Man might make people consider complying with Shaq's wishes. In a playful and humorous tone, the narrative explores the dynamics of basketball strategy and the larger-than-life personality of Shaquille O'Neal. The hack-a-Shaq strategy kept going, making some games last way too long, over 3 hours even, all because of endless free throws. Fans were getting fed up, booing their own teams as they watched a player shoot 30 or more free throws in a single game. And not just that, these were some of the worst free throws you could imagine. It was too much. The NBA had to do something, so they added a rule. Sort of. Fouls away from the ball would give the other team a free throw and possession, but only in the last 2 minutes of a quarter. So, the hack-a-Shaq can still happen today. But at least Shaq wasn't playing dirty to change the rules. That couldn't be said for Zaza Pachulia. Not the most famous player, but in 2017 he set a record for causing the most rule changes in a single season. Something strange happened during the All-Star Game voting. Typically, it's the top players who get the most votes, no questions asked. But suddenly, Zaza Pachulia started getting more votes than Kawhi Leonard, DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis. Let's break this down. Kawhi Leonard, averaging 25 points per game. DeMarcus Cousins, scoring 27 points per game. And Anthony Davis, getting 28 points per game. Zaza Pachulia, a mere 6 points per game. Seriously, just 6? It's pretty embarrassing, Mr. Pachulia. Are you even trying? 6 points and that's it? That huge difference in stats caused quite a stir. People couldn't believe Zaza was getting so many votes despite his limited performance. It led to discussions and eventually some changes in the rules. Zaza Pachulia, a basketball player, didn't quite fit the All-Star Game crowd. The NBA got suspicious when a player known more for bench sitting suddenly gathered enough fan votes to be an All-Star Game starter. Now, Zaza hails from Tbilisi, Georgia, not the US state, but the country. However, despite the overwhelming support, he wasn't exactly playing at the same level as the other star players. So the NBA had to step in and make a rule called the Zaza Rule. This rule slashed the weight of fan votes by half, preventing players from making it solely because of fan popularity or memes. But Zaza's impact didn't end there. In the playoffs, while playing for the Warriors, a crucial moment arose during a game against the Spurs. The Spurs were dominating, and a potential upset loomed over the Warriors. By the third quarter, the Spurs were comfortably ahead by 21 points. However, with 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter and the Spurs still holding a commanding lead, something happened that changed the course of the game. Kawhi got hurt pretty badly when Zaza defended his shot, and Kawhi landed on Zaza's foot. Some people think Zaza might have done it on purpose to take Kawhi out of the game. Whatever the reason, it messed up Kawhi's ankle really badly. Everyone, whether they were in the arena or watching on TV, could tell something was wrong. After that, Kawhi couldn't play for the rest of the game, and it changed how the series went. The Spurs were winning by 25 points, but ended up losing 113 to 111 because Kawhi was out. Because Kawhi couldn't play the rest of the series, the Spurs lost every game and got swept 4-0. People argue whether what Zaza did was dirty or not, but only he knows if he did it on purpose. Greg Popovich, the Spurs coach, was really angry about the situation. People got pretty upset about Zaza's actions. He's caused trouble before, and this time it led to the NBA stepping in and creating what they called the Zaza Rule. The new rule aimed to prevent dangerous moves, like reckless lunges at shooters, by allowing referees to call it a foul and fine the player. But Zaza isn't the only Warrior who sparked rule changes. Kevin Durant, his former teammate, also stirred some controversy. Back in his early days with the Thunder, Durant was unstoppable. He was a 20-year-old scoring an average of 25 points per game at 6'10", with a massive wingspan of 7'5". People joked that he was like a cheat code in a video game because of his dominance. With OKC, Durant quickly rose as one of the league's top scorers. He could make shots from anywhere on the court, scoring over 30 points per game by his third season. But there was this one move that got everyone talking, the rip-through. This move involved Durant swinging into a defender's arms while shooting to draw a foul. Before this move, Durant was already hard to guard, but now he was getting free throws handed to him by the refs. The NBA had to step in because it felt like he was taking advantage. They changed the foul from a shooting foul to a common foul, preventing players from using such tactics to get easy free throws. Despite the rule change, KD still tries to pull off moves to get those free throws. It's a bit sneaky if you ask anyone watching, but watch, that's how the game goes sometimes. Teaming up with Kyrie and Harden isn't cutting it. Despite Kevin Durant still stirring up controversies, it's nothing compared to a player who had such a strong odor that his teammates made him take a shower. You'd expect millionaire athletes to prioritize their health and hygiene, but some end up smelling worse than a homeless person. Just listen to this. During practices, one player's stench was so bad that even his teammates couldn't bear it. He urged him to take a shower, but he seemed oblivious to his odor. That guy was Adam Morrison, whose hygiene habits were nightmarish. Morrison would often skip showers, chew tobacco, and spit it around the place. Rumors circulated that he wore the same 3 polo shirts for an entire season, which was quite disgusting. The NBA decided to tighten its hygiene rules due to players like Morrison. The league locker rooms usually prioritize cleanliness, but some newcomers weren't aware of the standards. Markieff Morris, while with the Wizards, encountered a situation that deeply affected him, witnessing players refusing to shower, a common issue among some athletes. A former player recounted an incident from his days in Phoenix when a rookie claimed not to use deodorant, leaving his teammates uncomfortable. He had to explain the importance of personal hygiene, emphasizing how uncomfortable it was for everyone else. He hoped those needing the advice were watching his remarks. Rumors surfaced about Markieff Morris taking matters into his own hands. He allegedly bought hygiene kits from a drugstore and distributed them to his less hygienic teammates, including Anthony Davis. Markieff seemed to imply that Davis, known for his prominent unibrow, might need the kit. Although it was a bit of a stretch, Markieff aimed to help his teammates understand the importance of smelling good, even invoking the promise of attracting positive attention from the ladies. While these anecdotes might seem humorous, They underscore a serious issue. Players not maintaining proper hygiene might face consequences beyond the locker room. Fans can be harsh, resorting to throwing drinks or even offensive gestures if they find a player's smell intolerable. The extremity of these actions by fans highlights the significance of personal hygiene, not just for the players, but also for their public image. And don't forget to subscribe for more interesting content like this one.